Hey guys, this is Jules. Welcome to my tutorial, Sets and Superheroes. This video covers material up to and including Week 8 in Introduction to Interactive Programming in Python. Okay guys, I've decided to finally address the question that has plagued many great minds for years. Who is the sexiest superhero of all time? But Jules, you say, how can you address such a complicated issue in only the span of this short tutorial? All I can say is that I'm a brave, forward-thinking pioneer that trusts in the awesome power of set manipulation. And yes, to answer your next question, I did just describe myself as a pioneer. Now, in order to understand the methodology of my claim, you need to understand what a set is and how they are used. You also need to understand that I am borderline narcissistic with conversational delusions and often refer to myself in the third person. So what are sets? And why in the world would you ever need them in any respectable program? The technical definition is that a set is an unordered collection of unique items. Repeating that in my head, it sounds like a complicated way of saying a jumble or mess of stuff. What could possibly be useful about a jumble of stuff, you say? Behold the power of the mystery box. This box is not just an ordinary box. This box contains a set. The box is deceptively similar to any other box. It holds stuff. And like a box, if I fill it with stuff and then ask anyone at random to take something out of the box, there's just no telling which thing they'll grab. Some people are very orderly and meticulous and might grab the item on the very top. Other crazy, adventurous types might just shove their hand all the way to the bottom and stir the contents around before finally settling on one object. In computer jargon, this means we cannot index a set. But there is something else quite different about this box. When I snap my fingers, it becomes transparent and shapeshifts into whatever size it needs to in order to put everything in a line so I can see each and every item in the box. I know, pretty amazing, right? Well, wait, there's more. You see, the real power of this box is evident when you add another box into the picture. Since they can both become transparent and their items can line up, I can position the boxes so that I can tell every single item that's in one box and the other. Go ahead, feel free now to shout with joy. It's a perfectly normal reaction to the mystery box. There are so many things the mystery box can do. I'll go over a few of the more exciting things here, but I've also created a tiny piece of code that demonstrates each ability. The URLs for Code Sculptor sometimes get cut off on YouTube, but the link is in the forum thread Student Video Tutorials Semifinals under my name, Julianne Stoltz. I can add and remove items from the mystery box, but that's not too terribly exciting. But I can also discard an item. Now Jules, what's the difference between discarding and removing? Sounds the same to me. Well, the difference, my friend, is huge. Let's say you don't even want to take the time to look in the box. You just want to throw away a boomerang if there's one there. If the item isn't there, it just ignores your instruction. With remove, you have to know that the item is actually there, or else you'll get an error. Now what if you have two mystery boxes and you want to know all the items in both? That's when you use union. This hovers over both boxes and shows you all the items. But if an item is in both boxes, it doesn't include it twice. It just counts it once. But let's say you just want to know the items that are in both boxes. In that case, you use intersection. This is all pretty amazing. Guess what, though? It gets even better. Now let's say you want to know all the items that are in the first box, but not the other. For this, you use difference. And if you want to know all the items that are unique to the first box, or unique to the second box, but that are not in both boxes, just use symmetric difference. Another thing the mystery box can do is transform itself. Not only can it determine the union or intersection or differences, it can also make itself into those things. So if I want to change the contents of the first box into the combination of everything from both boxes, I would use update. And if I want to change it to the items that are only in both boxes, I would use intersection update. And yes, you guessed it, to change the first box to the items that are only in the first box but not the second, I'd use difference update. Finally, if I want it to be all the items unique to either the first box or the second box, I'd call on symmetric difference update. Just remember, if the call says update, it actually updates the contents of the first box. Otherwise, it just gives you the answer in a completely new third box. Now you might be thinking, Jules, this is absolutely mind-blowing and all, but what does any of this talk about sets and mystery boxes have to do with superheroes? Well, I would say everything. You see, I decided to really put my coding talents to use to better humankind, and I couldn't think of a more noble pursuit than to answer the question that has plagued so many for so long, namely, who is the sexiest superhero of all time? So I created a list of all the superheroes I could think of, and a few I couldn't think of too, just for good measure. And despite popular belief, bad boys are evil and evil is not sexy, so I didn't include any villains in the list. Unless you consider temporary villainous moments as evidence of complete villainousness, but of course I know you don't because you understand the simple concept that the sum is greater than any one part, but I'm rambling. So anyways, I have this list, and I counted it, and it was 222 possible candidates. No wonder it's such a difficult question to answer. I have enough trouble picking between 20 different shampoos, much less trying to wade through 222 superheroes. Well, I didn't give up. I, like the other great pioneers, persevered and devised a plan. You thought I'd drop the whole pioneer thing, didn't you? Not a chance. My plan was simple. I'd turn my list into a set and then use simple logic to keep reducing it until I was left with only one. Brilliant, I know. Feel free to applaud or faint as needed. So where to start? We all know that part of being sexy is being able to make good decisions. And as anyone knows, wearing red and blue together in the same outfit is never a good decision unless your decision is to look like a clown, and clowns are not sexy. Therefore, any superhero that wears red and blue together is certainly not sexy. And I just so happen to have two more lists, one with superheroes that wear red and one with superheroes that wear blue. But I only want to discriminate against the ones that wear both. The simplest solution was to turn both lists into sets and then find the intersection between them, or the ones that appear in both sets. Then I remembered that symmetric difference update would change the first set to include only those items that are unique to the first or the second set. And since my set of clowns were in both sets, this would only put the ones not in the clown list into the first set. And my new total was 197. That's a good start, but I still have a ways to go. So I thought some more about the question and realized that I'm neither a pedophile, a furry, or into torturing myself, and as such could not consider any superheroes falling into those categories as sexy. I could immediately eliminate any superhero that was too young, of an animal nature, or was made of rocks, fire, or other unappealing surfaces. I used symmetric difference update again and brought my total down to 175. Then I thought more about color and realized clown color combinations weren't the only color disasters a superhero could make. Predominantly displaying yellow is equally appalling. I mean, after all, yellow is the color of cowards, not heroes. Now the set is really shrinking, down to 132. Next I realized that the only people that go by one name are basically pretentious tools, like Madonna or Fabio. And being a tool is definitely not sexy. So I iterated through a copy of my sexiest hero set and removed anyone with just a single name. I had to iterate over a copy because I knew I would be removing names from the set, and it's never good coding practice to alter the thing you are iterating through while you are iterating through it. And wow, that brought my total down to only 47. Who knew so many superheroes were pretentious? Apparently, with great power comes great conceit. It was at this point that I had a moment of clarity. It might have been divine inspiration, or it could have been the 4 shots of bourbon, but regardless, I realized the true test of sexiness. The sexiest thing anyone could ever do is be Snake from Metal Gear. So I iterated through my set again to eliminate anyone who has never been Snake. And then I was left with one. When I saw the name of the sexiest superhero of all time, I knew my logic was sound. Of course, there should never have been any question at all. It always had to be Jack Bauer. So there you have it, and you're welcome. I'm glad I could finally do something to better society. And remember, the next time you are faced with a problem of astronomical proportions and unimaginable complexity, like the sexy superhero question, just turn to sets. Never underestimate the power of the mystery box. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this tutorial, please remember to upvote it in the forum thread. As always, comments are greatly appreciated in the forum or in the comment section below.